When you look at images straight from the camera, especially if you shoot RAW files, it's not always clear which ones have the potential to become great photographs. Hello, I'm Lawton, and this is a video for amateur photographer on a set of basic Lightroom adjustments to carry out on your photos to reveal their true quality. These adjustments are not for special creative effects. They're just standard fixes that can make any photo look its best, so that you can more easily pick out the ones you want to share, add to your portfolio, or edit further. Here's an example. I took this photo of the Ponte Vecchio in Florence, and the original RAW file is rather dull and flat, and suffers from some colour fringing near the edges, and converging verticals in the buildings on the bridge. I can't even tell if this is a good photograph or not when it looks like this. However, a few basic adjustments in Adobe Lightroom can transform it completely into a much better looking photograph. My adjustments can't make the Arno River blue rather than brown, alas, but maybe that's a tutorial for another day. The point of these adjustments is that they're not designed to apply a stylized creative effect. They're just basic and necessary adjustments you can apply to just about any image to get a proper sense of its potential. If you then decide to apply a black and white style, a vintage look, or any other, that's fine. But what we're showing here are the kinds of adjustments you will want to consider regardless of any creative decisions you make later. Nobody wants to start with skewed horizons, dust spots, or bad exposures. So let's look at these adjustments one by one to see what they achieve. I'll start with choosing a suitable profile, a basic step in Lightroom that's easily overlooked. When you open a RAW file in Lightroom Classic, it will automatically apply its generic Adobe color profile, but Lightroom can also replicate your camera's own color rendition, so that if you shoot with a Nikon camera, for example, it can reproduce the look of Nikon's own standard, vivid, or landscape picture controls. Lightroom can do the same with Canon, Sony, Fujifilm cameras, and others. What you need to do is look for the Profile Browser button at the top of the basic panel and scroll down to the camera matching section to see the alternatives. Now let's move on to some basic editing enhancements, and I like to start with the Lightroom's Auto button in the Basic tab, especially with images that have exposure problems. The Auto settings will recover any available shadow and highlight detail and normalize the exposure straight away with a single click. Sometimes you might want to adjust the results. I don't much like the saturation and vibrance increase the Auto settings apply, for example, but this is still a very quick way to check that your photo has all the dynamic range you need. It will recover detail in bright skies, for example, and to add a bit of a lift to dark, dense shadows. My next step is lens corrections. Digital lens corrections have become a standard tool today, either in camera for JPEG images or in your RAW software if you shoot RAW files. But Lightroom may not automatically apply a correction profile to your RAW files, so you can check this in the Lens Corrections panel. The first thing to do is to check the Remove Chromatic Aberration box. This is a separate Lightroom correction that's done automatically but not tied in with these specific lens corrections. These are activated by the Enable Profile Corrections box below. Usually, Lightroom will look up a matching lens profile and apply it automatically. You'll see it displayed in the drop-down menus below. Some camera makers though embed lens correction profiles in the RAW files, so Lightroom may use these built-in profiles instead. On a few rare occasions, you may be using an unusual lens that has no matching profile. Very often though, these lenses are optically quite well corrected anyway, and the lens correction panel does have manual tools if you need them. Lens corrections will fix lens distortion, like barrel distortion or pincushion distortion, but it won't fix perspective distortion. This is nothing to do with the lens, but caused by tilting the camera. In fact, most photos have a skew of some sort, whether it's a sloping horizon or converging verticals in photos of buildings. Fixing this is a small step that can make a big difference. So switch to the transform panel and check the constrain crop box to prevent blank wedges appearing at the edges of the picture when you make adjustments. Now either try the auto button for a balanced adjustment or the vertical button to straighten up walls and buildings. Next, I want to fix a dust spot I can see in the sky. Some cameras suffer from dust spots more than others. It depends on how their dust removal systems work and how often you change lenses. This is easily fixed with the remove tool, which I'll set to heal mode. There's no need for Lightroom's fancy new generative remove feature on spots as small as this. I choose a brush size just slightly larger than the spot and click on it. Lightroom automatically chooses a nearby area to clone from. And that is pretty much it for a set of basic adjustments you might want to use on any photo. But there is just one more thing I'd like to show you, and that's Lightroom's adaptive presets. These use Lightroom's AI masking tools to identify and mask the sky in your scenes, the main subject or the background. You'll find these adaptive presets over in the left sidebar in develop mode, organised into their own categories. Adaptive presets do kind of cross over into creative adjustments to a degree, but they are still a great way to quickly enhance a photo to more accurately reflect the way it looks to the naked eye. Here I've used the blue drama preset to enhance the sky. So that's the end of my quick tour of basic but essential Lightroom adjustments for revealing the full potential of your photos. I hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching and see you next time.